After A/B testing pop-ups for 3 years, we finally cracked the code. We found a pop-up that consistently outperforms and captures 3 times more than those complicated, fancy pop-ups everyone is teaching. And I'm about to show you exactly how you can build it in the next few minutes without any design skills. So, I want to first emphasize the fact that everything I'm going to show you is based off of dozens of A/B tests that I have personally done. So if I just show you some screenshots from our clients' accounts, as you can see here, we've tested basically every variable. We've tested pop-ups with the close icon and without, tested different speed timings, tested normal page versus full page, different trigger timings. We've also tested different incentives, different designs, you name it, we have tested it. That's the first thing I want you to know. Now, let me show you high-performing pop-ups versus low-performing pop-ups so that you can develop some sort of radar, like I have, to, even without testing, just straight away tell, this is not going to perform well, this is going to perform well. So, if I show you some examples, and I'm also going to show you the psychology behind why it's not really converting. So, first of all, let's have a look at this pop-up. This is probably the most common type of pop-up. Ignore the design. I'm talking about multiple input fields on the first step. Okay, a lot of text. You've got a whole paragraph down here, and yeah, it's just too much. Same here. You've got one input field, one email input field, but there's just so much text the person has to read. Then you've got newsletter perks. Like this really makes it overwhelming for the visitor. They're just on your site to buy something, all right? And you've just interrupted them with a pop-up. They're, by default, by nature, they are already pissed. They're already angry, all right? You don't want to give them lines to read. They're simply going to look for the close icon as soon as they see that it's asking for an email and it's asking them to put effort and read all of this. Automatically, they're going to look for this close icon in the top right corner. And that's why these email pop-ups don't really work well. So yeah, these types of pop-ups are what's most commonly used by e-commerce stores, right? And then you have more pop-ups. These are decent, okay, but it's unnecessary effort to make them look nice. For example, you've got this like 3D effect going on. Like you don't even need an image, and I'm gonna show you why. Same here. This pop-up looks nice. It's got a micro commitment step where they're not asking for anything on the first step. They're giving you the, they're telling you you've got this incentive. Tell us a bit about yourself. That's an excellent strategy. It's very good. But the reason I included it here is because you don't need it to be this fancy. Okay, a pop-up, like people know a pop-up is simply to collect the email. You can make a site as fancy as you want, but a pop-up doesn't need to be fancy, okay? All right, it's nice to have this type of design stuff in the background, but we don't need that. If you do, you're gonna have to spend 5 times the amount of time, okay? You're gonna have to work with designers and you're gonna have to get technical with Klaviyo. You can make this on Klaviyo, but then you're gonna see an ad saying, hey, you can make some flexible pop-ups using our third-party app. Then you're gonna start looking into pop-up apps. That's what people are doing. You don't need all of that stuff. Stick with simplicity, all right? So yeah, these are low converting pop-ups you want to avoid. These are good pop-ups, but you don't need to get fancy like they did over here. And this is the pop-up I am recommending to you because it's extremely high converting. It's very easy to make, all right? You don't need any design skills and it just works. So let me walk you through why this is a high converting pop-up. By the way, you could have the best email strategy, but if you're landing in spam, it's just not going to work. We recently helped a client go from 14% to 46% open rate by fixing 3 deliverability mistakes they were making. Another brand jumped from 37%, which is an average open rate, all the way to 67%. And another client's bounce rate this time dropped from 36% all the way down to 0%. There's a free guide in the description that shows you the exact fixes. It will take you 20 minutes to implement, but it could change your email marketing forever. So step by step, I'm going to walk you through the pop-up and I'm going to give you a psychology breakdown. So first of all, we have, before the first step, we have a teaser. Okay, we have a teaser step, which is always visible. This can be at the bottom of the screen or on the left. This can be configured inside of Klaviyo. And in a second, we are going to build this inside of Klaviyo together. So first, we have the teaser. It's always visible. It clearly states the incentive. Okay. Then the first step is a simple question. Okay, you want to make the first step as simple as possible. It's a simple question. Do you want the incentive? Okay, whatever incentive it is, it doesn't have to be 10% off. And we are going to talk about incentives in a second. So do you want 10% off? Very simple, 3 words, 2 buttons. And as you can see, there is no close icon. So we are basically removing that automatic behavior that people have of looking for the close icon in the top right corner. Now they are obliged to consume those 3 words, which is super easy. And if they don't want the 10% off, they can simply click on no and the pop-up will disappear. But if they have enough intent, they're going to click on yes. When they click on yes, this is where we can elaborate on the conditions of the pop-up, okay? So that you don't seem unethical or untrustworthy, where you promised them one thing and then at the end there was like a minimum order requirement. To avoid that, we mention it before they give us the email, but not on the first step. So here it's simply get the incentive, minimum order value $50, that's the condition stated inside of brackets. And you've got an email input field, a submit step, and a no I'll pass step. So on every step, we don't have a close icon, but we always have a button where they can click on and just get rid of the pop-up. That's the first step. And then this step is optional. I recommend you always do this, even if you don't have personalized flows. I recommend you do this. You have a question, especially if you have a broad audience where you've got people buying for different reasons, different pain points, you've got lots of different products. I highly recommend you have a question, a high leverage question that will help you determine, maybe in the future, it doesn't have to be right now, that will help you determine the best type of content to push to this person. And I'm not talking about campaigns. That can be done, but I'm mainly talking about flows. So the welcome flow, the checkout flows, etc. So very simple question, and you want to make it 3 to 5 options maximum. Even 2 is fine. So 2 to 5 options maximum. Don't have the radio button selector. It looks messy and complicated. Have 2 to 5 buttons. They look neater and it's just easier on the eyes. So that's the next step. After this, you want to try and collect the phone number, okay? And in the email marketing world, there are 2 extremes. One forces them to give you their phone number, otherwise they don't get the code. Or the other extreme is they don't ask for the phone number because they are scared that it's going to make them run away. But what we can do is simply have it as a step. If they don't want to give us their phone number, they simply click on no I'll pass, okay? And instead of closing the pop-up, we are still going to give them a discount, okay? We are going to give them a discount on the pop-up, not inside of the welcome email, so that we can make sure their visitor experience on your website is clean. They get the discount on the pop-up. They don't have to leave your website, open up their inbox, which is going to have lots of different emails, they're going to get distracted and you might lose the sale. Avoid doing that. And also that's why, actually, yeah, just avoid doing that. And also a big no-go is trying to get them to confirm their email whilst they are on the pop-up. That is a terrible idea. Do not do that. Just try and get their phone number. No need to verify the phone number on the spot. Get a phone number. If not, they're going to click on no, I'll pass, get a discount, and that's it. If they don't buy, you have their email, you can retarget them. So yeah, that's the psychology behind everything. Now, let's talk about the incentives to offer. So one thing I want to point out is everyone talks about, oh, you have to test, every audience is different, every store is different. Agencies especially love saying this because it makes them look useful, right? It makes them feel important. But after doing so many A/B tests, I can tell you there is a 90% overlap between almost every niche. Okay, whether it's a high-ticket sofa brand selling sofas for $4,000 or a skincare brand selling skincare for $50, there is just a huge overlap. It doesn't matter which country. It doesn't, okay, so countries, UK, America, Canada, Australia, the big five basically. That's where we have mainly tested. I'm not sure about like Asian countries or some third world countries. I'm not too sure about them, but the big five, I can tell you there is a 90% overlap in what works, the incentives, the design, everything basically. You only have to A/B test if you're a huge brand and you're just trying to get that extra 10 to 5% of emails by putting in 5 times more effort and time. If you have the resources, go ahead. There is going to be a video where I show you how to A/B test extensively. You can watch that and do it. But if you're not a huge brand, this is more than enough. All right. So I was going to talk about incentives. The incentives you can offer are the following. You've got a percentage off minimum order value. You've got free shipping. Okay. You've got free product. And you've got a fixed dollar off minimum order value. Now the key here is simplicity, because if the offer is hard to understand, okay, it's going to be confusing, and confused people are just not going to be enticed by the offer. That's one, simplicity. Two is a perceived value. So for example, now I can't tell you which offer is going to perform best, but these are the 4 offers that perform best, and simply by using reasoning, you will be able to determine what's the best offer using the rules I'm going to give you right now. And yes, you can A/B test the offers. The incentives are the only thing which have a very big impact on your performance. So when I was talking about you don't have to A/B test, I was mainly talking about the copy, the design, the behavior, etc. But the incentive, yes, the incentive is one of those things you want to test. That's the offer, okay? So I would say list as many incentives that you are willing to give and A/B test them. And I know A/B testing sounds complicated, but it's actually very easy when it comes to pop-ups. And I'm going to show you in the next video. So list as many offers you are able to give, okay? So as I was saying, the second thing is perceived value. You want to make sure it's just being perceived as a huge value. For example, if your average order value is $300, saying 10% off has a lesser perceived value than saying $30 off, right? So yeah, just try and use your reasoning first to see what has the highest perceived value. And yeah, list as many incentives you are willing to give, and we are going to test them on the pop-up. You don't have to change the email content yet. Just test on the pop-up because we're giving the discount on the pop-up, so you don't have to tweak the email content. Test on the pop-up, list as many offers you are willing to give, and test. So But before you start setting up multiple pop-ups at the same time, just make one pop-up, and then you can simply clone the version, tweak the first wording, okay, tweak this. Okay, so let's say if you want to test 10% off versus free shipping, you just have to tweak this, want 10% to want free shipping. Very simple. In both scenarios, whether you are going to test or you're not going to test, follow me and make the pop-up as I'm going to show you. So let's head over to Klaviyo, go to sign up forms, click on it, and this is the form we are going to make. So I always like to have a look at mobile. Oh yes, and one thing I forgot to mention is having different pop-ups for desktop and mobile doesn't have a big impact. So yeah, this is the pop-up. I was saying having a separate pop-up for desktop doesn't have a huge impact because first of all, we've removed the automatic behavior that causes visitors to close the pop-up. So because of this, the impact of having a slightly more optimized pop-up for desktop where it's larger is not going to have a big impact, because whether they are on desktop or mobile, they will have to go through the same chain of thought where they are obliged to consume those 3 words and then make a decision. So because of this, we don't have to make separate pop-ups for desktop and a separate pop-up for mobile. But yes, if you're a huge brand and even the tiniest details matter, then go ahead and clone the pop-up, A/B test, desktop versus mobile. But that's not really going to do much for your marketing, because the type of extra people you are going to be capturing are going to be low intent if those people would have never opted in using a simple pop-up like this. But yes, so this is the pop-up we are going to make. All right, I could just go through each step and tell you do this, do this, do this, but let me go ahead and tell you where to start from scratch and build it with you. So you are simply going to go to sign up forms, click on create form, and I like to go for where is it? Let's go with this. So just name this pop-up test, and here select your list. Okay, create. So the first thing you are going to do is try and calibrate everything, because these pop-ups are not good. They've been made by some okay, let me be polite, but yeah, these pop-ups are not good. We are going to just get rid of everything and build our own. So first, click on the first step. Actually, before that, go back. You have 3 settings, 3 things on the left. Styles, this is how the entire pop-up looks. So it doesn't matter which step you're on. When you edit this, this will edit the entire pop-up. Then you've got the targeting and behavior, which we're going to do after we've made the pop-up. And add blocks, that's just the blocks you need to build the pop-up. So first, let's adjust the style, which applies to the entire pop-up. It doesn't matter which step it's on. So first, for the styles, you want to select, let me just go back to refresh my memory. Okay, so pop-up, so form type pop-up, width custom, and you want to do 350. I know it looks messy, but just wait a second. Do 350 width, and height, do 400, do no side image, and then if you just go down, just apply your colors, your brand colors, so that it's consistent with your website. Drop shadow, that's fine, you don't really need to touch anything. Corner radius, yes, that's fine. Padding, do 20 on all sides. So 20, 20, 20, 20. And margin, do 0. Okay, and then yeah, you can keep this as it is. Just select your font. All right, then let me do Helvetica. We'll select your bronze font so that's consistent with your website. And here, change the font size to 20 so that it's easier to read. Right now, you can't really see much on the preview, but we are just applying defaults that will apply to every step when we make it. So yeah, font, that's fine. Link color, that's fine. And then here as well, you want to change this to your font. Do font size 20, okay, and yeah, that's fine. You can change up the colors if you want. Now that we've done this for one step, every step we make is going to stay the same. So now we can delete all of this stuff. So just delete everything. You'll be left with one block, which you can't delete because there has to be one block. You are also going to change the size of this close icon to 1 pixel so that it disappears. Okay, and now we can build the pop-up from scratch. So first of all, you want to have an image. This is going to be your logo, all right? You just want to make sure your customers know that this pop-up is from you and it's not just some third-party ad or something. So here to select your image, let me select, okay, this one. That's fine, that's visible. Then we have a text block. Simply head over to this section, the add blocks, select text. And when you add this text block, you can delete the old button that was from the template. Okay, so here, bear with me because the Klaviyo editor is so clumsy. I don't know why. It's such a huge company, but it can't make a proper text editor. Okay, so here you are going to simply write want the incentive, whatever your incentive is, like this, and ask a question. Font size, it has to be big so that it's easily readable. So just do 70, whatever fits on 2 lines or 3 lines. Okay, do that. Align in the middle, choose your font. Okay, like this. And then we have a button. So simply look for the button block here, like this. And the reason we are making one step and fully making it first before cloning it is because Klaviyo doesn't let us clone blocks. So the smartest and fastest path to doing this is fully finishing one step, and then when we clone the step, we are going to have those blocks already ready to go. So button action is going to be submit form. After submit, show next step. Okay, this you can ignore for now unless you want to track something or A/B test, which is going to be inside of the A/B testing video. But for now, you can ignore this. Then you have button text. Here, write yes for the first button. Choose your font, do font size 20. Yeah, and here just select your color. Okay, this height, make sure it's 50 and not less than 50, so that's easily clickable. And then you want to add a text block so that we can say or. So just write or, select, align in middle, choose your font size 20, and padding, do 5 so that it takes less space. So the vertical padding, do 5. And then you have the second button. Unfortunately, we can't clone this button block to make the second one, so we have to make it again from scratch. So the second one, this time the action is going to be close form. Button text is going to be no, with a full stop at the end. Select your font size 20, apply your color, okay, that's fine. And actually the padding on the buttons, let's also switch them to 5. So vertical padding, do 5 for this button and this button as well, so that it takes up less space, like this. If your logo seems too big, in this case, I would say yes, it's too big. It doesn't need to be this big. But depending on how you upload it, you want to adjust this so that it's not too big. Just big enough so that it's recognizable. Yes, like this, that's fine. So yeah, that's the first step. The hard part has been done. Now we can simply clone this step. Well, let's name this step first. Let's call this yes or no step. Rename, clone this, and make the email input step. Okay, so make sure you have selected the second step that we just cloned. Okay, and now we just need to edit this. So just change this to get, because it just makes more sense. Get 10% off, get rid of the question mark, make this on one line, like this. And then we need, if you have a condition, let's say you have a minimum order value, add a second text block. Don't try and do it on the same text block, because Klaviyo's editor is so clumsy, it's going to mess up. Look for another text block, add it in, and here you can mention the condition. Minimum order value must be $50, let's say. A line in the middle, select your font, and this doesn't need to be as big. I would say 16 is fine. Just try and keep it on one line so that it doesn't take too much space. And I think we can make this a little bit bigger. 50. Yeah, as long as it's on one line and the padding on the side is fine, try and make it as big as possible. Next, you have the button. Actually, before the button, we need the email input. So simply go over to the text, to the block section, look for email input, add it in, label, just write email, and turn this off. We don't need to show the email label because the box already says email, like this. Okay, as you can see. That's clean, it's neat, it's not overwhelming. And here, let's just go through all of the settings. Don't change this. You can try and be more on brand and punchy if you want, but keep it simple. Padding, that's fine. All of us is all good. Now, the button, the first button is going to be submit. So just change, actually on the button, you have to select the list it's going to add the email into. So list, you select whichever list triggers your welcome flow. To check which list triggers your welcome flow, simply go to Klaviyo, go to the flow, look for the welcome flow, and underneath here, it's going to say the name of the list. So add it to list name. Whatever this list name is, select the same list name here. Then after submit, show next step. You can ignore this for now. Button text, change to submit. Because we've cloned this from the previous step, we don't have to readjust the font or the font size. And keep everything else as it is. Next, you can remove this text block that says or. And for the second button, you want to make it look less like a button, so that's less clickable. So instead of having it like this, we can, okay, first let's go in the same order as the settings. Action, close form, button text. You can do no I'll pass. No I'll pass. If you want to get a bit more, you could say aggressive, write no I hate discounts, because it's a lot more negative. There's more polarization and contrast, and people are less likely to click on no I hate discounts instead of no I'll pass, because it just sounds more stupid. But yeah, just to stay inclusive to all brands, whether it's a professional brand or a edgy and punchy brand, I'm going to go for no I'll pass. So here, change the font so that's visible on the background. So just change the font color, and the button style here, make it transparent. Like now it looks less like a button, and the most obvious choice is this. So this step is now done. We can move on to this step, which is asking the question so that we can later on personalize. So to do this, you are simply going to, actually the easiest way to do this is cloning the first step again. So instead of cloning the email input step, clone the first step that we created and just call it question, and then drag this from here after the email input. So make sure that the order is correct. So question, here you're simply going to ask a question. Ask a question that's going to help you understand your audience, help you personalize the flows. and the messaging. In this case, I'm going to go for what's your goal? What's your goal? Try and make it on one line. Okay, then 40, still no, 35. Okay, 35. But yeah, again, try to take the least amount of vertical space possible so that everything looks less overwhelming. Then you want to remove this. Okay, you've got 2 buttons ready. And here, so for the first button, just write the answer. So the action for every button is going to be submit form, after submit, show next step. And here you are going to have to add a property so that you can track what they clicked on. You don't have to try and understand right now, but just follow me if you're going to add a question step. So just simply click on add a property, profile property. Here I like to add the actual question as the profile property. So here, just do that, create what's your goal. Now you have created the profile property. This will stay the same for every button. The only thing that will change is the value. So here, the first answer is going to be lose weight. So let's fill the buttons in first, and then I will show you how to make the profile properties. So the first answer is going to be lose weight. Second one is going to be, okay, just do submit form, make sure the action is the same. Submit form, after submit, show next step. The text is going to be maintain weight, the second answer option. And then we have to add another one, depending on how many answer options you want to give. So submit form, after submit, show next step, text, the third answer option, gain weight. And unfortunately, you'll have to readjust the font and the color. Okay, 20, like this. Adjust the color as well, so that every button is the same, like this. Now for each button, you want to add a profile property so that we can actually tag the profile with what they answered, so that we can use that tag later on inside of flows and campaigns to personalize. So profile properties, simply make it a question, like I just did earlier. Value, just copy and paste the text here. Do that, create lose weight. That's for the lose weight button. Now the second button, add a property. This is going to be the question that you were asking. The value is going to be this, the answer, like this. Third button, same thing. Profile property is going to be the question, and the value is going to be, the answer option, like this. Now you'll be able to track what, who answers what, because of this profile property which we have just added. And do not forget to add a button so that they can click off the pop-up in case they want to, because we don't want to force people to stay on the step, because that's just not a good visitor experience. So look for button again, add it in, and here the action is going to be close form. The text is going to be no, I'll pass. Actually, the text here can be close pop-up. Okay. Font, Heritica, that's my font. So font size 20, make it visible on the background, and make the button transparent, like this. And try and make it take less space. Okay, that is good. Yeah, that's clean, easy to understand, easy to answer. Just one thing you need to pay attention to is the padding. As you can see, because we added the third button manually, just readjust the padding so that it's consistent with the other buttons we did. Okay, and yeah, seems good. Now we can move on to the SMS step, the optional SMS step. So here you are going to add this. So actually here, instead of cloning the question step, clone the email step. It's going to be easier. Let's call this SMS, and then move this after the question, SMS, like this. And here, simply write final step, because we're giving them a sense of progression. We are letting them know this is the final step, because some people will be annoyed. They answered yes here, they gave us their email, there was one step, okay. Now there's a second step where they're not getting the discount they were offered. That's why we want to say final step, so that they don't click off. So final step here, just add the SMS input. So look for phone number like this. And the first thing you want to do straight away is fill in the gaps. Okay, here fill in the company name, and yeah, that's it here. And what you want to do next is just decrease this to 8 pixels. Like this text, if someone is that worried about receiving SMS, get the phone closer to their face and read. But we don't want to make this overwhelming. So make it 8 pixels, that's readable. We're not hiding this, it is readable. And here you're simply going to select, is this a new feature? Label phone number only, text messaging. Okay, it doesn't really matter what you select. We'll just go for phone number only. Actually, yeah, it doesn't matter. Single. Yeah, just select text messaging. That's a new feature Klaviyo just added, so I'm not very familiar with this. But just select text messaging, because when I selected phone number, now it's starting to say talking about consent. So just select text messaging. That's good, right? Selecting the phone number, consent, do single step, okay? Do single step, transactional and promotional only. I think that's just to organize the phone numbers internally. Text messaging. Okay, just stick to single step promotional, right? Yeah, single step promotional. Klaviyo might change this again in a few months. But yeah, I know it's annoying when softwares keep on changing stuff, but just try and make it through. Content, label, just write phone number, but we don't need to make this visible because the input field already says phone number. Okay, phone number, submit, select the list to submit, okay. And yeah, everything is good here. And you just want to make sure that this field, okay, this block is unticked. So required input, make sure it's not ticked, so that if someone doesn't want to give us their phone number, they can click on no I'll pass, but still get a discount they tried to get. And also, make sure the default country is selected. Okay. Button. The second button is going to be close form. Sorry, not close form. It's going to be submit form. Okay, not close form. And then list to submit to. You can select any list. It doesn't matter because they're trying to close the pop-up. So just select the list. And yeah, now even if they don't fill in the phone number, if they select submit, it's going to get a phone number. If they select no I'll pass, even if they don't give us the phone number, we are going to get them to the next step where we give them the discount. So SMS, okay, all good. Now we have the success step, which is the easiest and the most satisfying step. So here, just add your logo. Again, okay, select image, select, not too big, delete, and just have one text block that says, thank you for signing up, here's okay. Thanks for signing up, here's your code. Okay, just choose a font again, text color, okay, font size 20. And here you can add the coupon block, like this. Coupon block. When you integrate Shopify, you will have the ability to create unique coupons. You can do that if you're worried about the coupon being shared. Okay, so paste coupon. Here you're going to add a coupon code. So let me just do a generic one, like welcome 10. And when you copy on this, it's going to copy to the clipboard. Font, you can select your font. But yeah, that's the last step. And very, very important, make sure you add a button so that they can close the pop-up. If there is no button, they're going to be stuck on this step. They can't go back and it's going to be annoying. Make sure you have a button that closes the form. and it says close pop-up. Okay. Again, you can adjust the fonts, etc., adjust the colors, etc. Okay, extremely important, but I forgot to show you the teaser step. You need to make sure you don't forget to update the teaser step. So just follow me. All you have to do is choose rectangle. For the width, do medium. Okay, click on show before displaying form and after. And here, make sure this is off. And then just change this. I don't know why it's an icon. Middle. Oh yeah, here. Remove the icon. The background color, just adjust the color to whatever your brand is. And just write get the incentive. Line in the middle. Choose your font. Okay, so the issue was this was set to transparent, so just change the opacity, and then change the color of the font. So just try and keep on one line, don't go too big. It's fine. Bold. Corner radius, let's do 10. And yeah, that's fine. That's good. Now, if you have other widgets going on, like a rewards thing over here or a custom service thing, you can simply change the position to make sure it's not interfering with other features of your website. So yes, that's how you do it. We've done the design of the pop-up, how it looks. Now, very, very important. This is not where the pop-up building ends. You also have to set the targeting and behavior, and this is extremely important. You could have the best pop-up with all of the psychology tricks, but if it's targeting, if it's triggering too late, it's not going to perform well. And if you have a cookie banner on your website or some sort of whatever, like if you have other pop-ups or widgets that pop up at the same time, you don't want the pop-up to trigger too early. So what I recommend doing is go to your website through an incognito mode, look at what pops up when you land on the website, okay? And look at how many seconds it's going to take you to close all of the other widgets, okay? It's going to be around 5 seconds, okay? So what we like to do is do 5-second trigger. Again, you might, one of the biggest objections here that brands have is, oh, they just landed on the website, they don't know what we're offering. Let's try and get them interested first with the website content and then show the pop-up. That's not a good strategy because we're trying to capture them, okay? A lot of people will just leave by simply getting an answer to what they were curious about. Maybe they just clicked on your website just to have a look for no reason at all, okay? We are trying to get that traffic, the traffic that bounces quickly, so that we can retarget them using the email channel. When it comes to the people that are interested in buying, like very high intent, they're interested in buying, a pop-up is not going to distract them from buying, okay? So we've A/B tested this. The highest submit rate is always whenever you show the pop-up as soon as possible. So the sooner we can show it, the better. So yeah, here on the display, show form, do not do immediately because there's going to be a ton of stuff that pops up at the same time on the land, and we don't want the pop-up to be one of them. So based on rules, tick when visitor is exiting the page, tick after, so toggle on, not tick, toggle on after time delay of 5 seconds, right? 5 seconds is a good balance. But I would recommend still go to your website through a private window and see how long it takes for you to close everything else so that things calm down, and then show that pop-up. You can also do after visitor has scrolled a certain amount, but that's not really necessary. Just stick with when visitor is exiting the page and after time delay of 5 seconds. That's solid. Make sure you don't select this, okay? Do not select this. And here, you can leave this as it is. It doesn't really matter. Here, do 1 day. Devices, all devices. Click outside form to close. Make sure this is off, okay? Because if they are on desktop, they're about to click on something else over here. And if the pop-up appears and they accidentally click outside without even realizing the pop-up just appeared, the pop-up will disappear, okay? You don't want that to happen. So just make sure click outside form to close is off, right? So that they have to intentionally digest the content and click yes or no. Then targeting, so just make sure it's not showing to existing profiles that are already on your email list. And these wildcards, you don't have to exclude, if you're setting this up to capture emails site-wide, okay, keep it simple. You don't have to exclude blogs, you don't have to exclude checkout pages. Leave this empty. The only reason you would want to exclude certain URLs or include certain URLs is if you have a very specific page, landing page, that you are using for a certain funnel, okay, or like a affiliate page or whatever. If that's not your normal traffic and you don't want them to get distracted by a pop-up, then yes, you can exclude that URL here. The other reason you would want to exclude this is if you have multiple pop-ups triggering on, so multiple pop-ups that are personalized for different pages. If that's the case, then yes, you will need to add exclusions and inclusions. I'm going to have a separate video, which is going to be the advanced pop-up strategies video, where I show you how to do that type of stuff. But in this video, this is more than enough for 80% of e-com stores. I would say 90% of e-com stores. So yeah, simple. You don't have to exclude from certain locations. And yeah, we've now done the designing, we've done the style, we've done the targeting, everything is done. You can now simply click on publish. Okay, mine is not really connected, but you can actually, it's going to say this. Yeah, you have to set up SMS if it's not already set up and you're trying to collect SMS. But if that's going to bother you, and then you can set it up later. You can just remove this step for now. Publish when it comes to the other alerts. Name to disclosure, edit. Okay, so here, just make sure it's filled in. Placeholder is filled in. Okay, like this. And then you should be able to publish, but because this account is not connected to any Shopify or any site, and SMS is here, it's not going to publish. But yes, just do that and publish it, and you're going to capture more emails than your competitors.